Take your Bibles, if you will, to 2 Chronicles 27. 2 Chronicles 27. And this is going to be an interesting one because I'm going to have to read a couple of verses in one chapter and then move to another chapter to show you the result. I'm just going to kind of bring you up to speed on what's happening in 2 Chronicles 27. The king, prior to the one we're going to talk about this morning, got sick, and because of his father's sickness, he was not able to go into the house of the Lord. It was a punishment from the Lord, and that made the son a little mad. And so when you look at verse number 1 of chapter number 27, we see the reign of a good king, but he's missing one thing. And so in verse number 1 it says, Jotham was 25 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 16 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Jerusha, and his daughter, the daughter of Zadok. And he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord, according to all that his father Uzziah did. Howbeit, he entered not into the temple of the Lord, and the people did yet corruptly. If you'll notice, there's one thing missing. He does everything that God tells him to do, except he will not go to God's house and worship the Lord. Verse number 3, he built the high gate of the house of the Lord and all the wall of Ophel. He built much, and so he fortified the temple. He built up the city. He was a good king. He did not worship false gods. He put things in order, yet he would not go to God's house and worship the Lord because of what went down with his father. He just refused to get over it and worship the Lord, even though he obeyed the Lord and he honored the Lord. He just wouldn't worship the Lord. And it's kind of a sad scenario that we hold the church and God responsible for the failures of others. And so we just refuse to go because we don't want to honor that, even though what we're really doing is dishonoring the Lord, even while we serve him or we claim to follow him or we're behaving ourselves. Go up to the next chapter so you can see what happens when we decide that God's house is unimportant. Verse number 1 of chapter number 28, it says, Ahaz was 20 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 16 years in Jerusalem, but he did not that which was right in the sight of the Lord, like his father David, for he walked in the ways of the kings of Israel and made also molten images of Balaam. And moreover, he burnt incense in the valley of the son of Hinnom and burnt his children in the fire after the abominations of the heathen whom the Lord had cast out before the children of Israel. He sacrificed also and burnt incense in the high places and on the hills and under every green tree. And so we see that Uzziah, his circumstances, he did this to himself, but Jotham held it against God by refusing to go to God's house. He would not worship the Lord. His son sees that dad claims to love the Lord, but he refuses to worship the Lord at God's house. And so in chapter number 28, his son takes over when he dies, and his son worships everything but God. And he actually leads the people away from God. One generation. It only took one child, one person that said God doesn't matter enough to worship him in his house to make the next generation say that God is not even God. And so I want to strongly urge you. Your life may be extremely busy. The things you are doing may not be sin. Jotham was refusing to go to the house of God, but he did everything for God otherwise. And his son chose that God was not God for him or the people that he had influence over. And I just want you to understand how important obeying the Lord by his prescription, not what the world tells us is safe, but what God says is what's expected. That's when we get the better result. And so I want to encourage you, get back to the house of God. No matter what your reason for being away, it's no longer a good reason. Get back there and worship the Lord with his people. Have a great day.